And welcome to Bless's Kitchen. We're a little late this afternoon. I hope you stick with us, but I'm honored to have. She's here for lunch today. She's one of our parishioners. She has a great story. We're gonna her, and we're gonna have lunch, which is salad and chicken. I hope it's okay.
Delicious.
You know, people that follow me, they're like, we can tell when Father's on a diet, and he hasn't fallen off the diet, you know?
There's no carne con papa today.
No.
Beans and rice.
No pasta.
No. Protein
no
and
bread or anything. Look, even the dessert plate, it's empty.
For us, we're going to be good. No wine, no dessert, we're going to be good.
Yeah, even no wine, guys. So
that's a biggie.
That's a biggie. I always like to have my nice glass of wine at lunch. Not every day, just for Bless's Kitchen, and but not today. So, but anyway, so let's start in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Good and gracious God, thank you for this beautiful day, for bringing us together. We ask you to bless this food we're about to receive, bless this conversation, and in a special way, bless those who go hungry today. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Our Son, Holy Spirit. Hey Bella, do you think that music's too loud, or is it good? Lower it a little bit? All right. You know, this is a live show.
So we're as lively as it gets, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you for the honor and the privilege of being here, Father Vigo. I'm so humbled. This is so exciting.
I'm so glad to have you. And feel free to eat and talk with your mouth full.
I don't know if I can do that, especially if my mom's watching. Are you kidding?
Yeah. I tell people, just eat with your mouth full, you know, or else you're never going to get a chance to eat, you know? But, so, do people call you Anna Marie or Anna Mari, or it depends on who you're talking with?
It usually depends on who I'm talking to.
Because I know you as Anna Mari.
Yeah, pretty much everybody calls me Anna Mari. I always say, Mommy, like yours Cuban as the Royal Palms. Why is my name Anna Marie? You felt French that day or what? And people call me Anna Mari or Anna Maria, or they think it's two words, but it's actually one word, and it is Anna Marie.
Anna Marie.
But everybody calls me Anna Mari.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about you and your, and so tell us a little bit about.
So I'll tell you, thank you.
Where you were born, and tell us a little bit about you.
So I was born in Miami to Cuban parents. My parents immigrated here from Cuba. And I went to school at St. Teresa. I graduated high school from Carrollton. I went to my junior and senior prom with my husband of 33 years, Joe. I actually knew Joe Morey, my maiden name. I knew Joe since I was 12 years old. I introduced him to his first girlfriend, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, we are. Like, how does that happen? How does that happen? Like,
it was funny.
I'm 12 years old.
12 years old. We had the same social group, and we would go to Joe's house to the pool, and his grandmother would make us. Can you imagine the amount of energy we were exerting, jumping in the pool, playing? Absolutely. So we had the same social circle, and we're friends. And I introduced him to his first girlfriend, who's a lovely, very smart young lady who nowadays lives in Washington, D.C. And I hadn't seen Joe in several years, and I was in high school, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, do you remember?" I said, "Yeah." Coming from Gainesville for Thanksgiving.
Oh, he was already in school.
He was in school. I was a junior. Right, I was a junior. In high school, he was a freshman at University of Gainesville, University of Florida in Gainesville. Yeah, everybody says Gainesville, and it's actually UF. Yeah. So anyways, I said, that's a blast from the past. And she says, well, we're going to go to on his boat. Do you want to come? I said, I'm going to ask my mom. I'd love to come. So my mom said yes. You know, back then we weren't worried as much as we are nowadays with drunk drivers and phones and the boats. So we went, and from that day forward, we started dating.
From that day forward?
From that day forward, we went
in high school.
I was a junior in high school. We went out Wednesday night. The Publix maybe 3 times, and it was all when our children were born. And he spent the whole day with me and day then after Thanksgiving, so you know that was love.
Wow.
Black Friday online and Cyber Monday, and now with the pandemic, everything was online.
Because now that it's crazy how they've been, so it's like, it's the use of Black Friday.
Yeah.
So then he spent the weekend with you.
He spent the weekend with me. Friday, on Sunday, before he drove back to school, he took me to a little place called Raffles that was in Dayland. It was like St. Hillstones. And we had my favorite appetizer, I still remember till today. And as of that Monday, after we met, he would call me every day when I would walk in from school at about 3:20 p.m. My phone was ringing and it was Joe.
Wow.
And then I wasn't such a great girlfriend because I convinced him to come back home, and he did, and he went to UM here.
Does he regret that?
No, not at all. Not at all. We were both homebodies. You would think I had 3 stepbrothers, an older brother and an older sister, and I was the youngest, and I'm the only one that did not go away to school.
Wow.
Of the ones who chose to go that route, go to the college and grad school route, I'm the only one that didn't go away to school.
And you graduated, and you went where?
I went locally, everything. I went to St. Thomas for my undergrad. I studied education. I went to nowadays, they don't even know what that is. Language back then, the letter language. And then I got my educational specialist in supervision and administration from Nova Southeastern University.
Wow.
So I've
really a local success story here.
Very blessed to go to all the schools. Actually, the summer before I got married, because my parents said I had to finish school and had to be registered or at least know what master's program I was going to go into.
Yeah.
I took 21 credits. Talk about wanting to get married. Within 3 universities. On Tuesdays, I was at Miami-Dade taking a humanities course at 6:40 a.m. I was telling my daughter the other day, she's like, Mom, you're crazy. Who would do that? I'm like, me, because I wanted to marry your father. Then I would drive to St. Thomas, which for anybody watching that didn't know what St. Thomas was then, it was in the Biscayne College campus. That's a hike from Miami-Dade South.
Yeah, it's
and
just
then I would
north
go to
of
FIU at
Miami
night.
Shores.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I would go to FIU at night. But I got it done.
Overachiever, but you got it done.
21 credits in electives, 7 electives throughout the summer.
Wow.
Yeah, and we got married in December of 1987 at Church of the Little Flower. Every sacrament there, baptism, communion, confirmation, and marriage. And I later worked for Dade County Public Schools for 31 and a half years. I retired at the insistence of my family.
At school?
So I started as a volunteer with while I was at St. Thomas, I was studying political science and criminal justice. I really wanted to be an attorney. That was my dream, to be a judge eventually for children. I started volunteering at Sylvania Heights, a local public school in the city of West Miami, just down the street practically from here, and I worked with a very special needs child, and I fell in love with him.
Wow.
I did have a special needs background. Was severe Downs. My parents divorced when I was residential facility on Saturdays, even though they were divorced, and I spent a lot of time with her. So she was very much an inspiration to me. And she was severe and had obsessive behaviors, but I loved her and I loved being around her, and she would teach me how to do things manually. So the little creativity I have manually, I owe to my DIEDMA, no doubt.
Really?
Yeah. So I started volunteering at Sylvania Heights, and I fell in love with this little boy, and I'm like, Mom, I really want to be a teacher. My mom was a teacher at that school. My sister was a social worker, and my aunt was a teacher at another school. And my mom said, that's fine. I think that's a great idea to juggle family life and have a like you want to have. The only thing is you can't come work at the school that I'm at. I said, Mom, what do you mean? They already offered me an hourly job. I can go to school. I would work in the morning, go to my classes, come back, work again. I was always working. She's, oh, you can do that. But when you become a teacher, you can't work. And I said, but Mrs. Williams said she'd offer me a job. Absolutely not. You need to go be your own person. You may not be my daughter. I'm like, okay. And then started my career as a teacher. I was a teacher for 11 years. Elementary and middle school, only 6th grade. I taught an elective. Then I became an assistant principal. Dale Elementary in West Kendall off of Southwest 107th Avenue at Tropical Elementary, which had one of the largest special needs center, and my heart was all over that. Overseeing magnet programs for all of Dade County was challenging. I met a lot of people. I learned a lot. I did not like it. I needed to feel the school palpable, the love of children, their needs. So I went back to the school system, to the school site. They offered me a principal position at that time, which I chose not to take because I said, I've been out of the school site for 3 years. There's a lot of things I don't know, and there's a lot of people waiting in line before me that have more knowledge than I do. But I promise It's an expressive arts magnet for kindergarten through 8th grade.
You were a principal then?
And I was a principal there for 9 years, and there were 9 spectacular years. I learned so much from the children. The talent was incredible, the community, the parents, my teachers, it was great. And after 9 years there, I was appointed to be director at the region, where then I oversaw all the schools in the areas of elementary curriculum and professional ethics and standards. A year, and then we took on another 122 schools in the North region.
Wow.
And there I did curriculum, professional standards, and community events. Whenever we had politicians come in, people from Washington, I was in charge of those engagements as well. It was a great experience. I loved my job.
But it clearly, you could see God's hand, because I could see from everything that you just said how God has prepared you for this moment right now.
Absolutely. And the and apples and rulers and scissors and tape, and I did share with students every single morning over the PA system, the public address system. Faiths, but nonetheless good behavior. It was a experience for me. I stayed in touch with a lot of my students, first grade students, which was my first at retired for 2.5 years at the insistence of my family. They're like, Mom, you're still young. I have 3 children. My oldest is Jose Antonio. He's 28 years old, and he's married to Elisa. He worked for mergers and acquisitions, and after years there, my husband convinced him to come into the family business, which he didn't want to do at all. He didn't want to do it at all, and after 6 months, I think he fell in love with the business and joined us. He's married to Eddie Cantero, and they're inspirations.
Such a great couple.
They're a great couple.
I love seeing them in Madison. Yeah.
Brilliant. Two years apart, and then comes my princess Mariana. She's the youngest, a true blessing. I had a lot of health issues trying to start a family. I never thought I would have a 3rd child, and I did, and it's a girl. So she is an amazing blessing. Mariana's 24 years old. She's finishing her doctoral studies in physical therapy at FIU.
That is excellent.
So she's gonna have lots of business in the family alone, because one of us is always doing something we probably shouldn't do and getting hurt. So those are my 3 children.
That's amazing.
All products of Miami schooling. They did have the blessed opportunity to go to Catholic school. All 3 of them went to Epiphany. The boys went to Belen, and Mariana went to Carrollton.
That's amazing. What did you say?
There was a little bit of connection issues with the Wi-Fi, and we only heard the ending about your daughter. If you want to quickly talk about your sons again, we have the Wi-Fi fixed now.
Are we still live now?
Yes.
Okay.
See, that's the beauty of live TV.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Nicolas is my 2nd son. He's 26.5 years old. He recently graduated from UM Law School, and he's currently studying for the bar exam. And he's an avid sports guru. He loves basketball. loves to play basketball. He's a great basketball player. He's a health freak like you, eating protein and salad and all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Doing lots of exercise. He does love chocolate ice cream though.
Yeah.
And nowadays he's having keto bites, I think, instead of the chocolate ice cream.
Oh yeah, what is that? You gotta tell me what
So
that is.
we'll get those at Trader Joe's. You'll love them. They're
yeah.
fudge keto bites. Nikki is a statistician in my eyes. He loves data. I think he keeps data on shuffleboard. Everything is in an Excel spreadsheet in his life. Everything.
That's amazing.
He's extremely well organized with all of that, so we're very
Now,
proud
who
of
is like
his
that, the dad
accomplishment.
or the mom?
So Nick looks physically just like Joe. He's very quiet like Joe, reserved and extremely bright. Mariana's a mix of Joe and I. She looks a lot like my mother-in-law, like Joe. We were at the dentist the other day and I said, Joaquin, don't you think Mariana looks like me when I was that age? He's like, no. Like, could you have lied a little bit? He goes, no, she's Joe. And then Jose Antonio also has, I think, my personality. I don't know if you'll tend to agree.
Yeah.
He's more Gary in his looks, but he has a lot of his father's qualities as well. Definitely. Nick and Joe are more reserved. Mariana's a little bit of both. And Tuto's more me in terms of personality, I think.
Yeah,
I
think
want
you're
one
right.
of them to be like me.
I think you're
I
right.
want one of them to be like me.
I think you're right.
So they are my greatest legacy, my greatest pride, my whole life, as is my husband's, is our children.
That is, it's.
Truly, we're very blessed. We don't take our kids for granted because it was very hard for us to have a family.
How
So
beautiful, you're blessed. And
we are. Thank you.
you know, this year, St. Joseph, there's a big focus on family, so how beautiful to have this witness of how well you and your husband have raised your children.
Thank you.
But talk to me a little bit about, because teachers, my sister's a teacher and she always knew she wanted to be a teacher, and I think that that's innate in you. I think that's something that is just, I want to be a teacher, and but it's a vocation. It really, truly is a vocation. Talk to me a little bit about when your family decides to, hey, you need to retire a little bit about.
Yes.
What was that all about?
So there was a little window of opportunity. My family felt that I was young enough for Joe and I to travel, enjoy life before we become grandparents, which I can't wait for that moment. Hint, hint, if they're watching.
Yeah.
And before we need to be more actively involved in the grandparents' life. My in-laws and my mom are very independent still. We are very close to all three grandparents. My father passed away in 2009 and my stepfather in 2016, or a little more. We're very close. All of us are very close to all the grandparents, and the grandparents are very close amongst themselves. So they're always saying their Cuba stories and comparing politics and life and everything else. So it was very hard for me to retire. I've been active my entire life. I've been working for many years, since I was in high school in the summers. If my car needed new tires, I needed to work to pay for them. My parents always made work very important, great work ethic. My grandfather worked for him. He would deduct from my weekly paycheck whatever I owed for the tires. He had paid because obviously I didn't have the money to pay. So work has always been very important. I started working very young, so it was very hard for me to stop working.
Yeah.
So the first year, I did a little volunteering and a lot of traveling, so that was great. The second year into retirement, I did a lot more volunteering and less traveling. Then I was faced with some health challenges within my family, and after a few months, my husband said to me, you need to find something to do, or you're gonna drive your family crazy, or you're gonna drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
So my sister had told me about a movement that was coming to Miami, and the movement is called Cristo Rey Network. And she had asked me to volunteer.
And that's why you're here, because this is fascinating. Which your story doing, but I knew about Crystal Rey from the beginning when they first wanted to come to Miami. But when I heard that you were on board, I was like, you are a good fit for Crystal Rey.
Thank you, Father Eagle. This is a really blessed and privileged opportunity, what I'm doing.
Incredible.
So I said I was going to start volunteering, excuse me, and I met the principal, who is a product of Cristo Rey in Chicago, where the whole thing started, and I'm going to go there right now. And I said to him, you know, Cesar, his name is Cesar Munoz, he's currently working on his doctorate, so proud of this young man. I said to him, Cesar, I'm going to give you 75% of my time. I had Joe in the back of my mind, find something to do, find something to do. I'm going to volunteer and give you 75% of my time to anything academic, school operations, what I know. Any contacts I can help you with. I'll be happy to do that. So I started, and in less than that was October. In less than 2 months, July 29th, I met him. October, I gave him my commitment. December
October
11th,
what year?
this is 2019.
Yeah.
December 11th, I went to breakfast with one of their board members. She said, I need more help than you just volunteering. Would you consider 3 months or 6 months? I said, well, what is it about? She goes, I don't know, figure it out. So I went online, I started asking questions. She made some phone calls, and she said, tomorrow's December 12th, and the people from the network board are here from Chicago, and I'd like for you to meet them for lunch. I said,
Okay.
so-and-so, I have all these meetings, but okay, I'm gonna call you back. Of course, I called her back 20 minutes, I moved everything, I went to lunch. It was December 12th, Our Lady of Guadalupe, which I am majorly devout to. Because of her, I have my 3 children, there's no doubt, so they should be named really Guadalupe, and Guadalupe. They should be Lupitos and Lupita. But,
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'll do it for you. I went to the meeting, I met everybody, I asked lots of questions, and I said, I will do this if I have flexible time. The reasons I agreed to give up my career and retire, there was 2 conditions for my family. The first one was my spiritual growth, attending daily mass and becoming the best form of myself through a Catholic church. I was a practicing Catholic, but I learned that I don't know anything, and that I have a lot to grow and a lot to learn.
And you wanted to give the time.
And I want the time, that was priority, and physical exercise to be in the maximum health that I could be. And of course they were all about that. Taking mommy to lunch, taking Carmina, my mother-in-law, to lunch, visiting my husband's auntie Asar, that's what mattered to me. And I dedicate 1 day of the week to my cousin's babies. I pick them up from school, and I didn't want to give any of that up. So I was very honest. I explained, yeah, you'll have all the time in the world, don't worry, you're going to
Because at this moment, what are they offering you?
So at this moment, they're asking me to be the president of the school.
Oh, they have already said, hey, we want you to be the president of the
So
school.
I sat with my 4 children, because I do consider Elisa my daughter just as well, individually, not together, and got their feedback. I went to her then place of work, I met with Mariana alone, I went walking with Nikki, met with him alone, I met with Jose Antonio alone, and I left Joe for last, because he said, I want you to get the kids' feedback, and then I'll give you my feedback, because he always plays devil's advocate. Obviously, he's always taking care of me.
Yeah.
So he gave me a list of all the reasons why he thought I should not do it. And those lists was my daily mass, how important it was, daily exercise, mommy, his mom, my mom, his aunt, the kids, the little kids, the babies. So we went through that, and I had an answer for everything Joe told me. I went to 2 more meetings, and I committed to a year. It's already been a year, and I'm so in love with this mission. I don't see any end.
And they already knew.
And I'm not looking for it. As a matter of fact, I said to them, what if I want to stay on? I said to the people from the network and our local co-chairs, what if I want to stay on after a year? Will you still be conducting a national search? And they're like, no, of course not. You want to stay on? We'd love for you to stay on. So, what is Cristo Rey?
Tell us a little bit about
What is Cristo Rey? Cristo Rey is truly a movement, and
Which I love the name for the school.
So there are 30, we will be the 39th Cristo Rey Miami. It'll be called Cristo Rey Miami. So there's Cristo Rey Birmingham, Chicago, Cristo Rey Jesuit, Cristo Rey Lawrence in Boston. There's Cristo Reys there. We will be the 39th. They are within 24 states. They just launched their 25th school year. Given the uncertain times that we're living in our world and in our country specifically, with issues regarding racial equality and social justice, these schools, this movement, has been successfully promoting those issues for now 25 years, 25 and a half years. We have over 20,000 students who have graduated. So what sets us apart? There's so many good college prep schools around the country, and this is a spectacular college prep school. What sets us apart is that the students go to school 4 days a week for an extended day. So instead of being dismissed at 3, for example, they get dismissed at 4:30, to give you an example. That's not exact. The 5th day of the week, Father Vigoa, they go into a reputable corporation in our city. We have 37 of them already partnered with us.
That's excellent.
And they work in a high turnover position. So a team of 4 students, Father Vigoa, Elisa, Jose Antonio, and Nicolas, are a team of 4 students. You go to White and Case on Monday, Elisa goes on Tuesday, Jose Antonio goes on Wednesday, and Nicolas goes on Thursday.
Okay.
And then the first Friday of the month, second Friday of the month, third Friday of the month, fourth Friday of the month. So I was a little bit of Thomas Sadako. I'm like, a 14-year-old is gonna have the responsibility to sit at an attorney's office, a law firm, a construction firm, an engineering firm, a commercial real estate firm, a bank, just to mention a few, a tech firm, and take messages and run photocopies and scan things and greet people and say, would you like coffee or water? They're gonna know how to express themselves in a business savvy way. They're gonna know how to dress for this. How are they gonna know all this? And they said to me, because they happen to have come from a single parent home, only had a 4th or up to a 6th grade education, and now this specific young man who I have met face to face is a junior partner in Barclays in London.
Wow.
So these children work 5 days a month, 1 day a week and the specific Friday, in a corporate environment. They attend a summer program right before freshman year that teaches them, helps them with reading, mathematics, no doubt, because we take students that are up to 2 years behind academically, but teaches them business skills from etiquette, because if they're sitting with you as a CEO, we want them to know, please don't chew with your mouth open, have your napkin on your lap. They don't have to have 7 wine glasses and 8 forks and knives. Who needs that right now? They just need those skills,
right?
Social skills.
Yeah.
And someone said to me, but those things are common sense.
No.
I said, absolutely not. They've never been taught.
No.
If they haven't been taught how to wear a tie, how do they know that it's not over, under, and through? They don't know those things.
Well, because tell us a little bit about the demographics. Who are the kids that are going to Cristo Rey?
So the children that will be attending Cristo Rey school are children that come from low economic means. So their home, the annual income of the average Cristo Rey home, the annual income is $37,000 a year. These children meet the poverty line up to 300%. But these children are hungry, Father Vigoa. They have a drive. They want to move ahead. These are children that get home from their elementary school and they're chopping onions, they're carrying a baby, they're making beds, they're setting the coffee pot to help mom. So that and then they're doing their homework at 11, 12, 1 in the morning, and they're about 5:30 happy, ready. They have purpose. They're full of faith and service. And as I want to reiterate that we are a private Catholic high school for the underserved community in Miami, but we take all faiths and no faiths because we want you to be the best form of yourself.
Now tell us a little bit about how does Cristo Rey form the kids with religion?
So
because it is a Catholic school.
It is a Catholic school, and there is intense Catholic formation.
Right. And there's Catholic identity.
Absolutely, Catholic identity and mission. There's mission effectiveness standards that we go by. Their daily lives. So when they go out into the workplace, it's palpable. They are evangelizing just in the way they behave, the way they treat others, their desire to learn and to want to serve.
Yeah.
So the children will go to school 4 days a week. They'll work 1 day a week. They'll have an extended day. The data is the proof in itself. The students we've graduated, we are partnered with 58 colleges and universities. Tomorrow may be our 59th, and I'm counting that it will. These children have the opportunity of getting 100% scholarship for their 4 years of college.
Wow.
Another thing that sets us apart is that we see them to and through college. So what do I mean by through college? I'll be going to Richmond, Virginia for a retreat, an academic and spiritual retreat in April. Any student that would have graduated from Cristo Rey Miami when we are at full configuration that goes to school in Virginia or any nearby state, we will pay for them to come by train, plane, or automobile to meet with us face to face and just check in on them.
Wow.
We do that annually. In addition to that, we communicate with the financial aid office with students and with their curriculum advisor to make sure they're taking the right courses, they're staying on track if they need academic intervention. We do all of that. Sure. We do all of that, Father Vigoa.
Now tell us a little bit about how do you qualify these kids, or how do they meet whatever.
So there's
the
two
requirements
criteria.
are. The
You need
criteria.
to have excellent attendance, prior school attendance. That tells me you and your parents are gonna be here. You want it, you're hungry, you have the drive.
That's the buy-in.
That's the buy-in, and you need to have financial need. If you can pay to come to Cristo Rey, you don't belong here. Because the difference between the children going to Cristo Rey and the children that I was blessed to give birth to is the house they were born to. That's it. They're exactly the same. Their blood is the same. We all belong to the same race, and that's a human race.
Yeah,
That's it.
and these are kids that are looking for opportunity.
Opportunity is a
and-
huge word
yeah,
for us.
yeah.
Unaffordable opportunity. So
Opportunity.
the businesses that they
Give
work
me a
at,
chance.
absolutely, and they deserve the same
Yeah.
chance everybody else does. If we don't give them this chance, they're gonna be out on the streets doing what they probably shouldn't do to maybe even bring food home to their siblings and their parents, whatever their certain situation is. So give them an opportunity. Give them the chance to grow, to move ahead, to be the first to graduate in some cases from college in their homes, to set that example for their siblings and for their community. How does Cristo Rey start? Father Foley, a Jesuit priest, was in Peru for 23 years. He was working in the Andes Mountains. He gets reassigned to come to the US, gets reassigned to a small town called Pilsen outside of Chicago. 70% of children do not attend high school. You were probably
70%.
70. You're probably thinking high school dropout rate. No. They don't attend high school. It's not cool to go to school. I'm not gonna get a job after high school anyways. College? Who knows what that word is? That's for Beverly Hills. I can't even spell that word.
70%.
70%. He starts knocking on doors. Nobody wants to answer the door to a stranger. This is drug-infested, gang-ridden. Starts hanging out in the cantinas, very Mexican-American area, cantinas, coin laundries. Starts building relationships. When you build a relationship, you build trust. Kids aren't going to go to school. Public education is not going to give him a penny to open a school. So he knocks on McKinsey's door, McKinsey Corporation. I have a business plan and I have no money. McKinsey says, we're going to make this happen.
Now, who was McKinsey again?
McKinsey Corporation. So they do analytics, hedge funding. Okay. So they start knocking on doors, and they said to him, with your business plan, the kids are going to earn their way through school.
So he comes up with this plan of how these kids are gonna, they're gonna go to school, but they're also gonna have work experience, and this is how I'm gonna design it. So he comes up with that idea?
He comes up, Father Poland, who's still alive today.
Yeah, I saw him a couple of years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when he first came to Miami to launch the idea. He was an impressive speaker.
He's impressive. They had more businesses interested than they had students to work the businesses. So he held them up for the next year. So these students get a hand up, not a handout. We have skin in the game. They have purpose. Instead of saying, oh, I don't want to go to school. I have a math quiz. I didn't study. I don't want to go to school. I have to go to school. I have to go to school because Mr. Brown is waiting for me at Morrison Brown. And he's counting on me. There's not a substitute for me to take that job. This is not like a teacher being absent and there's a substitute. I have to be here. So now these children become young men and women of faith, purpose, and service.
Now, let me ask you this, because I think if I remember, is that they don't pay tuition, but they have to work for their tuition. So wherever they're employed, their check goes to pay for their tuition.
Correct. So a team of 4 students is $31,500. So the company pays that amount to the school. That $31,500 represents $7,500 per child, give or take, okay? So that $7,500 per child pays half of their tuition. So we're at 50% of the tuition. 40% comes from the Florida Tax Credit Scholarship.
Right.
That's a scholarship that's given to any child, regardless of what school they go to, public, private, or charter, that falls within the poverty line. That is Florida Step Up Scholarship for students.
Okay.
Excellent. And the other 10%, remaining 10%, 12, 13%, depending on where they fall on the poverty line, is parent paid. We want the parents to have skin in the game. So they pay, let's say, $75 a month to $150 a month, whatever they can pay, but they must pay.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I've seen it time and again. Places where you give something for free.
Oh, no, there's no freebies here, because life is not free.
Yeah.
And our worth is what we give back.
No, also if
I get it free, I'm not gonna appreciate
Well,
it.
you're not gonna appreciate it.
No.
The thing is that the parent says, I'm paying every month for you to go to the school.
Oh, you better do well.
better do well.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not gonna
absolutely.
be paying, because for them, $150 for someone who's on the poverty line,
That's
a
a
lot of money.
ton of money, a ton of money. You want your child in school, you're gonna get your child to and through college at no additional cost to you, and you want your family to move ahead. What's the best way to break the cycle of poverty? Education.
Yeah.
So this is a no-brainer. It's a win-win for the corporations because they are creating their future pipeline of employees. Coming right back, full circle.
And
For
something that you
banks?
said, and something that you said that is super important, and I think that is so valid, and I've seen many, many, many times. You give a kid a little bit of responsibility, and you give them an expectation, and they feel good about this. They're going to want to
Absolutely.
meet it every single time. I don't want to disappoint.
Of course
Mr.
not.
So-and-so,
They're gonna
Mrs.
meet
So-and-so.
or exceed. They
Or
will
even
have
exceed.
purpose.
That's right.
So when I was a teacher,
And maybe for the first time in their life.
yes, when I was a teacher, positive behavior management. Fulanito that was the worst behaved and driving me crazy. I wanted to pull every hair out of my
Give
head.
them a responsibility.
Absolutely. So he was at the thinking desk and he was my assistant or she was my assistant.
Turned out to be the best kid in the school.
100%. I won't say names, but I can think of some and love them.
That's how it
Love them.
happens.
And that's how it happens. Because all of a sudden they have value, they have work. At home they're just one more child getting in trouble, not doing what they need to do. But here there's a focus. So, Cristo Rey is coming to Miami. We have secured a spectacular property. We are have been approved with a purchaser's agreement. We're now in the inspection and period, and things
Tell
are
us a
gonna
little
go
bit
great.
about what
I
this
can't
space is.
tell
You can't tell me the name,
I can't
I know.
tell you the name or the address, but I will tell you, Father
Hold on,
Eagle.
what's that, Bella? Even lower now? I think I did. I'm gonna turn it off.
So I will tell you, it's located in the heart of our recruitment area. We will be recruiting children from Little Havana to Miami Gardens. We will be working on a plan to provide transportation through public transportation and some private transportation. We don't have that worked out because we don't know the home address of the students.
But it's a good location.
But it's an amazing
to downtown
location,
and
yes, to downtown.
To Coral Gables.
To downtown Coral Gables, where we have jobs, Brickell, downtown Miami. And we have children who have never been to downtown Miami, just like we have children who have never been to the beach. But we are going to give them that opportunity to expand their horizons to have
Now,
this
does this
purpose.
space already have classrooms, or you have to
This
build
space
that?
has classrooms.
Excellent.
This space has a peaceful sanctuary. You feel it when you walk in. As a matter of fact, you and I spoke the other day, and I was giddy when I spoke to you because I was literally hosting my first staff meeting on the grounds of the building.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, this is,
Tell me
it's
what,
been a year to get a building, but God
I know,
has saved
and
for
I've
us.
walked with you in this journey.
Yes, you have walked with
You
me
know.
in this journey. And
And
I
I
signed a
appreciate
purchase and sale agreement on the day of my 1-year anniversary with Cristo Rey, January 13th. So God works in miraculous ways. He
Yeah,
had
he
this
does.
saved, and it's such a treasure. It's the best opportunity we've had and the least expensive opportunity we've had.
Well, I can't say that I told you so, but I'm going to say it anyway. Because I told you, I remember saying, Armani, God has a plan. Because I know you were upset with one that fell through that could have been good. But I said, I don't feel it. You said, no, trust me, it's going to be good. I see it. And I said, I don't feel it.
I
And then
remember
you said,
you
well,
saying that
maybe
exactly.
you're right.
I
Maybe
don't
you're right.
feel it.
I don't
And you
feel
were
it.
right.
I don't feel it.
And you were right.
Yeah. And I
And
said,
who was going to tell me I was going to be sitting with you here having lunch today after
With a
having
signed deal.
signed agreement?
yeah. So tell
So
me a little
very
bit about,
excited.
have you reached out to the city? Like, what does the city think about some officials or anybody? in
So
the
we
city?
have reached out, the property, we have reached out to the municipality and they're feeling really good about it. And they're very supportive, and the need is so great in their community, and the owners of the property, which is incredible, really wanted to sell it. Regardless of the money, everybody needs to make, of course, the money, but their focus was that whoever came in there would be doing God's work.
Yeah.
They are fascinated with the mission.
Wow.
Fascinated with the mission and wanting to help us. They're going to be opening soup kitchens. and drive by food pantries. And I already told them our children will be volunteering there 100%. Because of the minimal staff that we have now, because of course we're super lean and want to keep operational costs as low as possible, the minimal staff we have now, we're doing a volunteer service monthly as a staff.
Oh, good.
In our community, in our city, in different places, wherever we're needed.
Now, you talked a little bit about Munoz.
Cesar Munoz. Oh,
and tell us a little bit about it. Is he excited about coming to Miami?
Cesar Munoz is a spectacular soul. That young man was a graduate.
So he's going to be the principal, correct?
He is already the principal. He has already been named principal. He was a graduate of the Pilsen School. The week before he graduated from high school, he had a gun put to his head.
Wow.
He knew how to keep calm, and he knew what to do to get out of it. He graduated, went to college, got his degrees, currently working on his doctoral studies. And Cesar, when he heard of the opportunity to open a Cristo Rey in Miami, he went and he interviewed. And he was concerned because he's a young man. He's 31 years old. He had been an assistant principal. He had worked in very hard areas. But the fact that he is a live example of the results of students that graduate from a Cristo Rey.
That's what you want.
Yes, he had been married only 3 years, and for 8 months he and his wife committed so that he can move to Miami and start the mission of Cristo Rey.
Wow.
Yes.
That's what you want. You want these kids to be able to say, hey, you're not going to tell me a story. This is possible. I'm a product of this school, and let me tell you why it's going to change your life.
We also have Emily Ferro. She is a very devout Catholic woman, and she is the director of corporate work study programs. She had absolutely no problem securing jobs because her reputation as a Catholic woman and her intense business background spoke for themselves, so she has secured all of those jobs. She also helps me actively with development. All of us are doing multiple jobs to be as lean as possible. We have Elena Cruz, who's our grant writer and director of recruitment. Right now, she's just focusing on grant writing since we got our property. Well, we are in an agreement for our property. I know that's going to be God's will. And we also have a young lady working on communications and marketing and a little bit of everything. We're wearing multiple hats, and we're loving wearing multiple hats because we will see this to fruition, and I will see those children walking in those hallways.
Of course. So when do you open the doors? When are you're gonna have the first
doors
kids?
will be open the Monday after 4th of July of 22. So we have 18 intense months that we are going to be launching.
What do you need to do in those 18 months?
In those 18 months, we need to raise hard cash. We need petitions and pledges for cash for those who want to give throughout several years. We are working with an architect currently who is a volunteer and on our board. They've been incredible. We have an architecture firm who's given hours and hours and hours. We have a group of engineers and civic leaders who've given endless hours. And we have a law firm who's given endless hours. And when I say endless hours, I'm talking north of $200,000 and $300,000 worth of work for free. So we'll need plumbing, we'll need electrical, we'll need mechanical, we'll need furniture, we'll need all sorts of things, but we need money to close on the property. So I am in the midst of raising those funds and asking those who are interested in making a difference in our community and ensuring that we have a community full of safe young men and women who are going to be employees of our corporations and evangelize to please come forward and help us.
And this is a lease, or you guys are buying out?
Purchase.
That's the ideal.
We have a very, very generous, super Catholic family who is helping us to purchase. They will be purchasing the property, and we will pay them back little by little, and as soon as we can purchase it from them, we will. Under incredible terms.
How great God is.
Yes, He is indeed. Yes, He is indeed. So I want the children to be able to evangelize and say that and say, thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity because they deserve it.
Yeah, and I think that that as Catholics, I don't care what parish you're in, part of the Archdiocese, that if you're watching us, you know someone would be interested in helping Cristo Rey or come be part of this great vision. But because we're all Catholics and we're part of this universal church, and how beautiful that kids that are living on the poverty line, like you said, that are being able to be given such a beautiful Catholic education, because that's what it is. It's a Catholic education. And I was talking to somebody yesterday because I'm trying to get their kid into Columbus and I said, Catholic education cannot be just for the rich. That makes no sense.
That's not what Elizabeth Ann Seton wanted.
Yeah,
for
it's just
sure
embarrassed, and so we need to be able to give opportunities for any kid that would want to go to a Catholic school. And how beautiful that Cristo Rey is that school that we can all of us here in Miami, with who God has been so generous and we're so blessed with so many gifts, that we could say, you know what, we're going to help Cristo Rey.
That would be wonderful. And we are not competition to our local
Catholic
Catholic schools.
Right, you're not, because you can't take their kids.
Correct. They can't take their children to those schools. They don't meet the criteria either financially and or academically. And our Catholic high schools are wonderful about giving a percentage of scholarship to those students if they meet the academic standards. But what happens to if they take in 10, let's say, because that's what they can afford to do, what happens to number 11 through 100?
That's right.
Give me the students, please, that cannot afford the education because money and academics.
Yeah.
We want to do the same thing that our local Catholic high schools are doing in terms of evangelizing and providing that Catholic education.
Now, how are you going to promote? Like, how are you gonna get the kids?
So we are going to different community agencies, Centro Mate, Urban Promise, Breakthrough Miami, to name a few. We would love to be able to go into our Catholic churches that don't have a school going through 8th grade tied to them, so that we can give them that opportunity. We would love to get support from our local archdiocesan schools whose 8th graders don't even sit for the Catholic high school entrance examination, because the parents know that although they can have the Florida tax credit scholarship for students, they won't be able to afford the difference, which may be $8,000 a year. If it's $16,000, $8,000 a year, how do they pay those $800 a month for the 10 months of school? Please allow us to provide those children with a Catholic education as well.
And what's the school plan? And maybe this, maybe you don't want to answer this, or there's, but what's the thought of those kids who perhaps the majority are not Catholic, who are going to be coming to the school? How does Cristo Rey, how does that work?
So we have 24 religions currently represented throughout all of our schools in the country. So I've learned about religions that I had never even heard of, to be quite honest. I realize how small my world has been, and how we plan is, again, as I shared earlier, is we will be providing theology classes through scripture and helping these children understand it according to their faith. Okay. So that they are, as Father Foley so eloquently said, the best form of themselves. If you're Muslim and you're coming to Cristo Rey Miami, I want you to be the best Muslim there is.
Okay. That's excellent. And then teach them a little about Jesus too.
Jesus will be palpable. Palpable.
Well, I want to be able to walk those halls and see the
I can't wait till you're there with me.
That'll be excellent.
I can't wait for that unveiling and for you to join me there. Thank you for
excellent.
your trust in me as a leader. Thank you for your belief in the vision of Cristo Rey. And thank you for your guidance, because I have bugged you plenty.
No, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you and to walk with you, and it's been a great journey, and just to see how it's all unfolding and how God has a plan.
Incredible.
And it is just beyond what anyone can imagine, because He puts it there in front of you and says, this is what I want.
And He had the perfect timing, because post-pandemic, as we begin to see the light with the vaccine somewhat, these children are in greater need than they were before.
That's exactly right.
Much greater need than they were before.
So Anamari, thank you for she came to Bless's Kitchen to not eat with her pastor, but to watch her pastor eat.
This has been awesome. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us, and thank you for what you do. You're a beautiful soul and a beautiful woman, and we're so glad that you're part of this community, and you're shining bright and helping kids, and that's what God desires for all of us, to find our purpose and to do His will. And if you can help one of those little kids to know the Lord and to do the very best and to find purpose in their life, you're doing a lot. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for your
we
words.
pray for you and we support you. And if anybody's watching that would love to help and support Cristo Rey, you can contact us and we'll put you in communication. So thank you for having lunch with me.
Thank you.
We'll see you next Thursday. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
God bless. Take care.